Let's just cut right to the chase. We are taking a massive sledgehammer to some of the most stubborn gym lore out there. If you are exhausted by all the conflicting, backward advice floating around the fitness world, well, you landed on the exact right explainer. Today, we're separating pure, hard bodybuilding facts from the total myths that have literally been holding your gains back. Honestly, how many things do you believe about building muscle that simply aren't true? Like, do you still think you gotta train every single day? Are you forcing down endless mountains of protein? Or maybe you're convinced you need to be in just constant, excruciating pain after every single workout. Yeah, we're gonna tear all of that down. Let's walk through the actual, evidence-backed truth and watch how incredibly fast these old myths fall apart.
All right, Section 1, the bodybuilding illusions. Specifically, training every day.
Take a look at a typical, effective training week. Day 1, that's your training stimulus. You hit the weights, you hit them hard. But then, notice what happens. Day 3 is all about rest and recovery. And day 5, that's your muscle adaptation. The absolute biggest myth out there is that you need this relentless daily grind to build muscle. You just don't. Yes, your muscles absolutely require that initial training stimulus, but they actually do all their growing during the recovery days, period. If you don't rest, you don't adapt. It really is that simple. Moving right along to the nutrition side of the gym floor, Section 2, the more is better trap, or as I like to call it, the protein misconception. Look, we've all heard this one, the legendary myth that just eating literal mountains of protein automatically guarantees muscle growth. The actual fact? Your overall diet, your training, your recovery, and your total nutrition profile are what actually matter. Now, don't get me wrong, protein is absolutely essential for repairing and building tissue, but just eating more and more of it doesn't magically turn into bicep peaks if your training and recovery aren't completely dialed in. It's a vital piece of the puzzle, for sure, but on its own, it doesn't guarantee a single ounce of growth without the other pillars holding it up. Next up, Section 3, the pain illusion, destruction and soreness. Ah, the classic no pain, no gain. It's this incredibly toxic idea that every single workout must utterly destroy your body for it to count. Well, fact check. Good technique and progressive overload will beat sheer exhaustion every single time. Hard training matters, absolutely, nobody's denying that. But constantly pushing yourself to complete physical exhaustion, using terrible form just to feel destroyed, that is not the goal. Controlled technique and gradually, smartly challenging your muscles over time matters infinitely more. Just break down the actual biological process for a second. Step 1, effective training. Step 2, proper recovery. Step 3, adaptation and growth. Notice what's completely missing from that chain: extreme soreness. Sure, you might get a little sore when you try a brand new exercise or bump up the weight, but soreness is not a scoreboard for muscle growth. You can have an incredibly productive muscle-building workout without waking up the next morning literally unable to walk down the stairs. Let's jump to Section 4, the perfect routine myth. We're talking exercises and muscle confusion. You can walk into literally any fitness studio in the world and hear guys arguing over the ultimate exercise. The myth here is that there's this one perfect, magical exercise for every single muscle group. The reality? Different exercises safely challenge your muscles in different ways. Whether you're doing a dumbbell press, a heavy squat, a row, a lunge, there is no magical best movement. There are only movements that you can perform safely, control properly, and progress with consistently over time. That's it. And speaking of exercise selection, we have got to talk about this massive misconception. The myth that you must constantly change your exercises to, quote-unquote, confuse your muscles. Okay, the reality here? Keeping useful exercises makes tracking your progress so much easier. Look, your muscles do not have brains. They don't get confused. They just need a reason to adapt, which simply means increased tension over time. If you're constantly switching up your whole routine every single week, how do you even know if you're getting stronger? Consistency is what actually allows you to track your improvement and apply real, effective, progressive overload. Moving to Section 5, the getting bulky fear, accidental mass. Now, this directly addresses one of the absolute biggest fears for beginners out there, this crazy idea that lifting a few weights means you're going to wake up looking like a massive competitive bodybuilder. Let's be very clear. Building significant muscle is a long, highly deliberate process. Week 1, that just brings neural adaptations. You're basically just getting better at the movement itself. Month 3 is when you might see some noticeable strength, but it takes a full year or honestly a lot more for significant muscle growth. It requires intense, consistent training and time, heavily depending on your individual structure and nutrition. Trust me, nobody accidentally gets bulky overnight.
Which brings us to section 6, what actually matters, the core principles of growth.
So let's just forget all the noise. Block it out. Here are the actual foundational tenets of muscle growth that you need to focus on. Ready? Train consistently, use good technique, apply progressive overload, which just means slightly more weight or reps over time, eat a balanced diet with enough energy and protein, prioritize your recovery, and most importantly, give the process time. These are the core evidence-based truths that actually drive real, lasting results. I really want this final, empowering message to sink in. Bodybuilding isn't about finding a secret trick. It's about doing the basics well over and over again. Think about that. It completely removes all the anxiety of complicated gym lore, doesn't it? The true secret is literally just mastering the basics, putting in the reps, and letting time do the work.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer. But before we wrap, I want to pass it over to you. Which bodybuilding myth did you honestly believe was true for the longest time? Take a quick second, reflect on your own fitness journey, and drop it in the comments for me. And hey, if you want more simple, evidence-based truths explained clearly, without all the unnecessary gym myths, make sure you hit subscribe. Keep mastering those basics, and I will see you in the next explainer.